Hey, let me play you a short bit of music, first as an audio file and then re-record it through my phone. Not great, is it? The phone speaker adds quite a few problems. We lose a lot of low end, we lose a lot of detail, we lose a lot of stereo image, and it also adds distortion. If we want to find a way to do some damage control, we really need to understand how to work around these problems in our mixes, so we can get our audience to at least get the sense from the phone mix that it's a good song, worth listening to on proper speakers or headphones, and not just a tinny distorted mess. There's something important you need to understand about a perception of pitch. You might think of it as synonymous with frequency, the peaks you can see on a spectrum analyzer, but that's not really true at all. To begin with, if we add some overtones, so 200, 300, 400 Hz to our 100 Hz sine wave, we don't start hearing it as a different pitch, just as a different timbre. Now interestingly, if we add enough harmonics, we don't even need our fundamental frequency anymore. We can literally filter it out completely but still hear the sound as the same pitch. Now let's do the same again, but looking at the waveform and the spectrum together this time. And you're going to start seeing what's happening here. While we lose the fundamental frequency as we filter it out, the period of our wave remains that of its original fundamental, purely thanks to its harmonics. As we saw in the last episode, simply saturating this wave would bring the original fundamental back. It may have seemed to disappear, but really, in a way, it never left. Now, why is this so useful? In less than ideal playback situations, say a phone speaker, this can really save us. As much as I hope for you that people will always reach for their nice speakers or headphones to listen to your music, both of us know that's not realistic. And a phone speaker's frequency response, well, it looks an awful lot like a high-pass filter. So maybe if we just add a few more harmonics, be it during sound design or with some saturation, we can at least give your listeners the sense that there is supposed to be a bass there. Let's just listen to a sub-bass with and without added harmonics on a phone speaker as simulated with a plugin. I'll turn the phone simulation on and off for both examples. Another neat trick comes from adding some high-passed white noise to your sub and ring modulating it with the sub's waveform. This gives the noise a repeating pattern at your sub's frequency that's almost more rhythmic than harmonic, and it can really help suggest the presence of a big sub bass even in the very top end of your song. But these days as a producer you're not just a technician, you're the artist. You want to use your deep technical understanding to create experiences for your audience that push the boundaries of what they know. So why stop here? Why not use the harmonics of a much lower wave beyond the human range of hearing at say 10 or 5 Hz to suggest something truly gigantic? Another neat effect of having a few more harmonics to your sound brings us back to what we discussed in episode 2 of this series. In a busy mix there is going to be some masking, and having the pitch of your sound be suggested by more than one frequency range can really help not get lost behind other elements. For a second important effect, let me go out on a bit of a limb. Here's a bit of speech I aggressively cut some holes into. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything funny to say here. Now I'm going to play with the same sound, but fill in the holes with some noise. Unfortunately, I didn't have anything funny to say here. Did you notice how it became a lot less weird sounding and also a lot easier to understand? Even though I didn't add any information to it, this is known as phonemic restoration. What I tried to show with my questionable demo here is that if you give your brain reason to assume a sound is masked instead of just cut out, it will perform better at reconstructing the missing bits. Now here's my personal takeaway from this diversion. It's alright to cut holes in a sound, as long as you fill them up with something else. Sidechain in it. We can sidechain one sound to another, cutting a similar hole into a melodic element that is to make space for our drum sounds. It'll gain us some extra headroom. And if we mute our drum sounds, yes, it sounds weird. But once we fill in the hole with the drum, it sounds fine, if we time the sidechain well. We can't really even hear that there is a hole there at all. A lot of dance and bass music producers will be very familiar with this effect. A little caveat I'd like to add is that in my experiences, this only works if the element plugging the hole exists in the same frequency range as the hole being cut away. A common place I have encountered this is when sidechaining my sub basses to my snare drums. While this gives us a nice headroom advantage, it can sound quite awkward, since the snare doesn't offer much bass itself to plug the hole it creates. That's it already. Bit of a shorter episode on two somewhat unrelated effects I find interesting and useful to know about. In the next and last episode of this series we'll dive deeper into different ways your perception can fool you. As audio engineers we need to be aware of the tricks our minds can play on us to make more objective and accurate decisions when choosing and using our tools. If you want to learn more in the meantime, why not become a channel member for $5 a month for lots of bonus tutorials. Thanks to everyone who did already, and a special shout out to those who chose the bonus lessons plus tier or higher. They don't get you anything extra and are purely there for those who want to support me with a higher monthly donation. I also offer private lessons. I'll link to those somewhere. See you in the next one. Cheers.